Beautiful soul. Welcome to Friday. It is Ask Me Anything Live. I'm Dr. Andrea Pennington, Managing Director of Make Your Mark Global, and I'm super excited to just be here live on a Friday for any single question that you have, within reason. No, really. Most of the people who've been hanging out with me lately know that I am on a mission to help more coaches and light workers and doctors improve health around the world. So I have been sharing some of my insights and my background in communications and in media to help more people reach more people. So what's up, Claire in the UK and Frank in Switzerland? Very nice to have you all here on a Friday. So please feel free to type into the chat your questions. Typically, I have my own agenda, or I'm teaching, but today it's all about you. So welcome. I'm very grateful that we can hang out for a little bit on a Friday. One of the things that we have going on over at Make Your Mark Global is we are in the process of publishing some books. We've got 2 major books going on, and that has got me a little swamped. And I'm in the midst of shooting, well, I'm not shooting it because I'm in France, but we're also shooting a documentary film. So it's a busy, busy time. And part of my work at Make Your Mark Global is to be available to more people. So here we are. All right, so our first question from Frank in Switzerland is, how can I keep up my mind for a long time to get what I want? All right, thank you for that question, Frank. It sounds like it's the mental motivation piece that might be a stickler for you. I am a big believer in 2 things that will help you, Frank. If you want to keep your motivation high and your energy going forward to get what you want, first is to write out your vision. So I am one of those people that believes very strongly in the power of visualization. You know, there have been all these wonderful neuroscience studies that show for athletes, even for NASA, astronauts, that when we imagine something, I'm going to date myself, the brain can't tell if it's live or Memorex. And maybe it's only the Americans who'll get that. But if you can go into your mind and imagine and visualize with as much sensory stimulation as possible, you can actually create an environment in your body and in your brain to take you to your goals. So, Frank, this question about how do you keep your mind up so that you can get what you want, keep your energy and motivation high, I actually recommend that if you're going after some big thing, whether that's a work project, maybe it's manifesting love, whatever that thing is you're going for, you should be visualizing it several times a day. So literally, if you could see and feel and hear, what would it be like when you get to your goal? This is literally what athletes do. What would it feel like? Who would you be when you get to that goal? So visualize that. So how do you do that? You could do a guided meditation, put yourself, you guiding yourself or listening to one, where you get yourself into a calm state. Typically, we like to focus on the body. So breath work helps you bring your concentration to that one still point. And we know that when you do that, you're going to start activating those alpha brain waves, right? But ultimately, we want to get even deeper. So if you can, do some meditation and some breath work first. And once you are in that peaceful, calm state, then imagining yourself going into that future can be really wonderful. And again, making it as sensual as possible, right? And thank you to Kenneth, who says, if you can't imagine it, you can't achieve it, over on Facebook. Thanks, Ken. So it's true. you can actually activate your body and your motivation to move you to a goal. And that includes health goals. We know that our visualizations and meditations impact our physiology and our brain. So that's number one, Frank. And I mean, if you are tuned into the field, I didn't expect this to go all, out into the stratosphere, but if you get really tuned in through meditation, studies have shown that when you start to get down into those theta brain waves and maybe even gamma, well, we know that with theta brainwave states, that's typically when people are accessing the field around them. So if you're really tuning into the field, that universal consciousness, and bringing your body, your brain, everything into vibrational alignment with this potential future, you could be manifesting whatever it is you're going for very, very fast. So I saw that you popped in that question, how long will it take? I can't tell you. But that's number one, is the visualization. I would do it several times a day. Number two is journaling. I truly believe in writing down, and I see Dr. Jill has just joined us. So I believe in writing things down. If you start imagining that future, you at that state that you want to be, whether it's a health goal, a financial goal, a relationship goal, or a business goal, write about it in your journal. Write about any of the emotions that come up, the fears, the doubts, but also writing about the positive future. And the more that we do that, we are, again, just in training our brain and our consciousness to bring that into reality. So, highly recommend it. All right, so who else has got a question? I'm going to go over now to Facebook for a question. And Claire is asking, she's creating new products in the education arena. How important is it to trademark your idea or your logo? All right, so that's a great question, Claire. Definitely, I believe very strongly in protecting your work. Now, if this is some very innovative idea that many people in the field might want to snatch up, then I would do it. I don't know what the laws are in the UK, but typically when you start publishing stuff out there, meaning you're writing it on a blog or on your own website, you generally can, at least in the American law, say that it's copyright to you. But if you have something that's really unique, Claire, I would highly recommend you talk to a copyright attorney before you put too much of it out there into the marketplace. But you'll have to tell me exactly what you're working on. I know that you are writing a book, Lollipops and Rainbows, a collaboration with children. That is pretty cool. I like that. Teaching literacy with soul. Okay, so Claire is asking, what is the best and easiest way to launch a book? Okay, so now we're getting into some marketing questions. Today is supposed to be about marketing and branding. All right, so one of the things that I am publishing in my new marketing masterclass, actually my marketing success program, shameless plug, is a launch sequence. So Claire, if what we do at Make Your Mark Global is we start as early as possible to promote a book. As soon as you know that you have this idea for a book, personally, I recommend that you start sharing it. Now, you don't have to share every little thing, but ultimately, what good marketing is it's about raising awareness for your product or service, and it's about piquing interest. Like you want people to be curious, interested, or maybe even hungry for that idea. So just like the big blockbuster movies, they start, like imagine all of your superhero movies that have a sequel. Well, they start promoting it from the end of the current film. They're giving you a little cliffhanger about what's to come. And then every time they sign a new actor, they're letting you know that in the next superhero movie, so-and-so is going to be playing the evil villain. And then every time there's an advancement, now the crew has flown off to Ireland to shoot these scenes, they're letting the public know, getting people excited and interested. And it's the same thing for us when we write a book. So starting right now, you're doing it right now. This is marketing. You've just shared that Lollipops and Rainbows, Teaching Literacy with Soul, is a book that Claire is working on with 20 children. So I would start blogging about it, even as early as 6 months or a year out. Because what you ultimately want to do is start attracting an audience and having people be aware of it. The next thing that I would do is you can certainly, Claire's just popped in a question, should I read snippets, little segments of the book to the community? Absolutely. That would be a fun way to let people know what's coming. Absolutely. I have a full launch sequence that's part of the Marketing Success Program. And we literally start as far out as 6 to 12 months, where you put out maybe a press release. You're putting out announcements on your own website, on social media. As soon as you have a book cover, or you could even make social media posts about each of the contributing authors. So as soon as you have an author, if you have their permission, of course, you might do a little author spotlight. And so you're just bringing all of these little elements to the front, reading snippets from the book, absolutely. When you get the cover, then you can share it. And I'm not just saying share it like in a boring way, share it in a personal way. Like share your excitement for the project that you're working on. So all of that, the behind the scenes stuff, people actually love, because then when the book comes out, they feel like they've been a part of the whole journey. And if you think about it, you want to let people know as early on as possible through blogs and social media and podcasts, getting interviews, launching a full website for the book, or at least a dedicated web page, and then eventually sending out review copies so that you can get other bloggers and podcasters to promote your book. But if you can actively do this ongoing, then you're more likely for those people to be ready to buy the book when it comes out. Because one of the challenges is, what if the week that your book comes out and you're all hyping it up is a week they're off social media and they're not even checking in? You want to let them know so far in advance and even have a countdown 30 days before that book is coming out so that people have that anticipation. And ultimately, it's ideal if you get those people that are, I know you, Claire, you happen to host a Facebook group, but ideally you would want to get people onto your own email list, because getting in front of your Facebook followers, it's great if you have a private group because most people will check into that group if they're active. But other than that, it's very hard to get noticed in someone's feed reliably unless you pay. And of course, dear old Zuckerberg would love for you to pay. All right, so who else has a question? Anyone? Anyone? Hey, Alex. I don't know if you're still here. I see that you said hello. Very good to have you. I'm excited to give you something, Alex. You have a website and brand review. She has joined our A3 Marketing Success Program. So excited. All right, so we have a question from Instagram, and I cannot read your name. Aksha Takulkarni. So, as doctors, how do you think we start educating people on social media? And as in, where do we start? There's so much to put across that I'm not sure where to begin. Okay, that's a great question. So, for those of you who do want to be promoting stuff or educating people on social media, the numbers are out. We've got billions of people online, and with coronavirus, probably even more than the current data shows. So that means that your ideal customers are on social media. So the first thing to do is to choose your platform. So of course, this person is asking the question on Instagram. So if you like Instagram, start educating. Now, one of the things that I recommend in our personal branding bootcamp and in the Marketing Success Program is, if you know that you want to be known for a particular topic, or you know that there is one subject that you really wish everyone was well educated on, I would make a list of all of the ideas that you have that you think people should know. What are the frequently asked questions that people come into your office with, or they hit you up on social media? What are the questions you wish people would ask, right? And if you make a list of these questions, that's where you begin. what we want to do on social media, if we are teachers, healers, doctors, educators, is the things that you are most passionate about, the things that you are most knowledgeable about, you need to be putting out content on an ongoing basis. Now, a lot of people used to think, okay, well, I should just write one massive blog post that demonstrates that I know my stuff. But what if I wasn't subscribed to your blog and I didn't see it on Facebook? You can't just post once and think it's done. You've got to do it consistently and from multiple angles. So that's where I would begin. I would begin with the frequently asked questions, the things that you want people to really know, or the things they should be asking about with the subject matter that you're an expert in, and then sharing that on the social media platform that you like. Because I know that my ideal customer is on LinkedIn, but I don't like that platform. So every time I try to fit myself into the LinkedIn box, it just doesn't fit. So I'm not going to force myself to be there. And so for each of you, you want to choose the social media platform that you can tolerate, because I know I have a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people who are like, okay, I can only take so much. Sorry guys, it is so hot. I need to change the direction of the fan. So that's my answer to your question. I hope that answered it for you. If you have more to follow up, then do. All right, so Alex has a question over on Facebook. Should I do a course or focus on group coaching, much like your style, with a course as a backup? All right, well, it may be, Alex, that you need to tell me a little bit more about what you're doing. Like, who is your ideal customer and what sort of coaching would you deliver? And then I can tell you. So, and this is a good question for everyone. A lot of people are hearing all these summits saying, you should have a course, you should have a course. But maybe now is not really the time for you to have a course. This may be the time for you to do more group coaching so you really get tuned in. But to answer your question, until I see you type something more in there, Alex, the decision between should I do group coaching or should I launch a course really comes down to, one, your style. Are you better in one-on-one interactions or group interactions? Are you comfortable with creating an online course, and will it be able to deliver the results that you think your ideal customer can get? So it may be that there's only a piece of what you do that could be in that online course. And then for people who really want the implementation or the additional support, they come to a group coaching, which is the model that I use. I have my online courses for personal branding, for the marketing, and even a little media one. But when people need help to implement it or to stay accountable or to follow through, or just because I've been doing media for 20 years, sometimes you want to just be able to zero in and ask questions. So the group format also works, and it makes it much more accessible for people who wouldn't otherwise necessarily qualify for my one-on-one. I'm going to change the fan because I'm sweating here. Sorry guys, I'm coming back. I'm not going to rub it in case, well, I think everyone around the world is enjoying summer right now, but it's like 80-something degrees here, 29 degrees for my European folks. All right, so what other questions do you have? Okay, wait, so the other thing about that is, should I do a group course, group coaching, or should I do an online course? It also depends on your capacity. So doing a group coaching course is going to take time to prepare all of your lessons, to give people feedback, to do all of that stuff. You need to also think about your own energy. Like, does that drain you, or does that fire you up? Does that make you really pumped? Because you definitely don't want to do something that drains you to the point that you can't sustain it and you give people a bad experience. So I always recommend that you do a little beta test. You can always invite people to a short version of your course. Some of our luminaries will do a 1-month or a 3-month kind of group coaching experience to either give people a taste of what it's like to work with them, and then if they want to go on, they can maybe buy a bigger package. but also to really just feel out, what does it feel like to be in a group coaching environment as the teacher and the supporter? Does that make sense? All right, I hope that it does. And I saw that Karen Almond. All right, so Karen over on Facebook has asked the questions. Once we have our website done, how do we attract an audience? So I actually recommend, there's a new book out by Russell Brunson called Traffic Secrets. And it's a great book. I highly recommend you get it because it makes the whole concept of growing an online business really simplified. And in the book, he breaks down how do you go after traffic that you pay for, because ads are still the #1 way to get traffic to your website. And how do you start just attracting traffic organically? And that could be through search engine optimization, which means your website is set up with the right keywords and the tags and the metadata and the descriptions with all of the terms or keywords that your ideal customer is looking for. And so there are SEO experts who will sit down and talk to you. I think I mentioned to you, Karen, that we had someone named Brandy who does that. Getting a list of, and you already know many of them, what are the common questions that people ask? Like if you are someone who knows a lot about dental implants and holistic dentistry, then you already have the frequently asked questions, and you should also have a list of questions that other people would ask. So that means on your website, you should have articles or blogs or videos, even better, about all of those. If you do videos, make sure the transcript is there so that all of the little search engine spiders will go out to your site, they crawl the site, and that helps improve your search ranking. So I'm giving you the very abbreviated form of SEO. There's a lot more to it, but that's how you get traffic coming to your site organically. It's when people go online and they do a web search for a topic, and God willing, over time, your site would come up high in the list. We could do a whole masterclass on that topic alone, but that's one way that you get an audience. The other way is to buy ads, is to literally put out advertisements, ads that draw people into your website. Ideally, you would be doing that with some sort of what we call a lead magnet. You know, you've heard me talk about these things before, but these are things that you give for free to get people onto your email list. All right? And Karen, you say you're still confused about Facebook as the platform. Well, what you have to think of it is this. Where are your ideal customers? A lot of our ideal customers are on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, they're on TikTok, they're on LinkedIn, maybe even Snapchat, but I'm not going there. So in other words, the one way that you can actually get those people to know about you is posting in groups. That to me is a very labor-intensive approach, but there are still a lot of experts that recommend you go to these groups that are well-trafficked, post a bunch of helpful content, and hopefully people will start to see you as an authority. That is a little bit long and drawn out, and quite honestly, most of the groups now that are started are to build up someone's business, so they don't like you posting, you know, that you have consultations available and that sort of thing. So in other words, it means start your own group. You know, start your own. I know that you and Eric, Karen, you have a group, right? But it might be that you create something specific and you start getting people into that. All right, so let's see if there are any more questions over here on Instagram. So Frank from Switzerland says, how many books do I read a month? and what book would I recommend? Well, right now it's a little bit challenging because I have like 30 authors sending me stories for our current books. But I'm usually reading, I don't know, between 1 and 3 books a month. For me personally, I still do my personal reading, all about brain chemistry and love and attraction and, yeah, all of that. What book would I recommend? Well, this one right here. I highly recommend The Real Self-Love Handbook. And the audiobook is coming next week. I kid, but it depends on what you're looking for, Frank. So it is a great book, though. Just saying. All right, so let's see what other questions. So Margareta says, you love Instagram and Facebook, but Facebook less and less. I'm with you. I think Facebook was so great, a few years ago, but it really is it takes a lot to get in front of your audience. Okay, breathe and flow coach. Okay, thank you. I did miss your question. You are a wellness coach. Wonderful. Working with clients, empowering them to be the experts. So what can I put out there to attract such clients? Okay, so you're a wellness coach. So, all right, breathe and flow coach. She, she, I don't know what you are. You are a wellness coach. All right, so what I would suggest is that you start to narrow down your focus, because that's very generic. If I'm standing at a bakery or at an event and I say, oh, what do you do? If you say I'm a wellness coach, if I'm interested enough, I might ask you to tell me more. So I wouldn't identify yourself that way. That's number one. And instead, I would really focus in on what are the handful of problems that you solve. Yes, you probably have done some great training and you could cover a whole range of illnesses and challenges, but if you're just starting out, it's going to be really hard for you to get attraction and traction. So it's best in the very beginning of our careers if we can really get narrowed and focused on the things that we do really well and that you do in a very unique way. Because if you just say you're a wellness coach, that doesn't make you stand out against somebody else. But if you can tell me specifically what you focus on and what you can create success in for people, then I might lean in and ask you to tell me more. But ideally, with personal brand marketing, it means picking your platform. So if you're into blogging, if you're into Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, pick your medium, pick your platform, and then consistently put out content that is targeted to your ideal customer, which means you're talking to them in their own language, right? It means tuning in to what are their problems and what is the pain that they're experiencing. And you share posts that either uplift them, you said that you're into empowering them. Give me a little bit more. Okay, so I just had to scroll down. You gotta love the iPhone. Okay, hello Parisha, functional medicine certified health coach. We need to talk. I might have something for you. So one of the things that we do is we started a company called Innate Vitality, and we provide functional medicine, integrative medicine, holistic health information online. And coincidentally, we are attracting more and more bloggers to write content for us. So if you wanted to attract an audience, you've got to find a platform where the traffic is already there and then consistently write about that. So functional medicine covers everything under the sun. But is there anything in your own life or some recent cases that you could focus on that really light you up, you can get really good results? Is there a particular angle? I would focus on that at first and build up a good amount of content around that, so that if someone does say, what do you do? And they go and they look at your profile, they're going to see your Instagram wall. Maybe if you're into empowerment, do you do that through quotes? Do you do that through teaching? Do you have guided affirmation meditations? You need to figure out what is the content type that you like. So blogging, vlogging, doing videos. Maybe it's the cute quote cards, if you're into Canva or Photoshop, or if you have some sayings that you'd like, you can hire someone to do that. But that's the first thing. The first thing is to really focus on what are you good at? What do you do in a way that other people don't? So functional medicine coaching, that's very different than your average health coach. So I would focus there and then pick a few of the either problems that you solve or your approach. Like if you were a keto coach, for example, you might be just focusing on that as a mechanism for delivering health. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. All right. Meti has this question. What about if it's a project of more people? Do you, before it starts, market every person individually or just the project as a whole? I think, Meti, you're going to have to tell me a little bit more about the project. If it's a project of more people. So please tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that. Please. All right. Taking another question from Facebook. All right. So Lamola asks, do you mean that visualization can change body chemistry, even though you face your own negative or unconscious beliefs? Or do we have to get rid of these fears before visualization? Well, yes. So visualization can change your body chemistry and the neurochemistry, absolutely. It is true that you may not have the effects in the outer world if you are still holding on to subconscious beliefs that maybe you don't deserve it or maybe it's not right for you. So, for example, if you have a fear of success, like maybe you say, oh, I'm going to create my own company, or I'm going to go after this job, and you really, really want it, right? And you might say, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do my visualization about that. But if deep down in your subconscious you are afraid of success, then there will be some sort of way that that project gets sabotaged. And you may not even be consciously aware of it. Like you might be sitting in that interview and you do something or say something that you're not even really consciously aware of that's kind of going to thwart or sabotage the interview. So what I recommend is we have a lot of wonderful people in our community who teach about using the body as an instrument to tell you whether you're really aligned or not. So some people use the sway, some people use kinesiology, muscle testing kind of stuff. But you can also just go into meditation and really ask yourself, what are the fears? And then I recommend, if you're trying to manifest something and you suspect that there's some hidden fear or some kind of block in your subconscious mind, then I have a life writing program, totally free, with guided meditations that will help you identify the source of those fears or subconscious beliefs. Because ideally what you want to be able to do is get into the subconscious mind and trace back the origin of those fears. What is the origin of your beliefs? And when you do that, you can start to change those beliefs so that when you are visualizing that success, you'll be in harmony with your body's energy and with the field into which you're projecting. So if you look at the link in my Instagram bio, or if you go to andreapennington.com, you'll see that I have several life writing exercises. One is how to overcome victim mentality, which you can use for anything, but it's going to help you if you have this idea of being a victim, it's there. But you can use it for any subconscious belief, same process. It's all outlined in the Real Self-Love Handbook as well. It'll help you go in, identify the subconscious beliefs that are blocking you from experiencing success, joy, love, fulfillment, and it'll help you change them. The other life writing exercise that's free on my site is called 3 Keys to Becoming the Hero of Your Life, which will also help you go into the subconscious mind to identify where you're not being heroic and activate the hero archetype inside of you. All right? So I highly recommend that if you want to accelerate the way that you manifest and you create success in your life or in your well-being and your relationships, that you address the subconscious mind. Because all the affirmations in the world and the visualizations are not going to actually create in this physical reality what you want if there's something inside of you that's fundamentally saying no. Got it? All right, so I see Birdwalker Music. What's up? Are there better times of the day or night to manifest? I typically find that a lot of people like it when they're first waking up, because you're still in that sort of hypnagogic state. If you can regularly meditate, getting into deep meditation where you access theta and the field, maybe even gamma if you're an advanced meditator, you can actually accelerate the way that your manifestations come. So first thing in the morning for me, when I'm still just kind of waking up, that is my ideal time to start thinking about what do I want to manifest for the day, or I just simply ask, like, what do I need to be focused on? If I'm doing a video or something else, I get a lot of downloads at that time. So it's a really good time to focus in on your idea that you want to manifest. And meditation music, guided imagery or meditation music for artists. That is a great idea. I don't have any recommendations. You should make some birdwalker music. You should do that. All right, let's see. Who else has got questions? And Donna, hey, good to see you, Donna, over on Facebook. Do I have somebody on our team that does websites? Not on my team personally, but if you are looking for someone to do them, I can give you some recommendations. And Karen says, please do that class. You must be talking about the SEO class. Okay, it's coming next. But maybe that's, yeah, we'll add the SEO to the marketing success program. Since you're in that, Karen, you'll get it. But yes, we will do a masterclass. We'll do one for free for the whole world, and I'll invite Brandy on because she's quite talented. All right, so Margaretta in Italy asks, would you recommend a website writing more general, as in women, or you? Margaretta, I don't understand. Non capisco. Tell me what you mean. Would I recommend a website more general? I don't know what you mean by that. But I would never say general, ever. Write specifically. If you know that you're helping people have a VBAC, that's a vaginal birth after a cesarean, then write several articles or blogs and or videos and or guided meditations to help women and their partners support them through a VBAC. I wouldn't be writing general stuff. And maybe you're asking like general stuff that's not related to pregnancy, Margaretta? I'm not sure I understand. Tuana over on Facebook says, what are the signs that you are afraid of success? Very good question. So, oh gosh, I can cover this in so many different ways. All right, so one of the signs that you're actually afraid of success would be just tuning in and asking yourself. Or what I was writing about recently is the what if exercise. So most of us who have a fear of failure, people who have a fear of failure fill in the blank with what if, but what if my parents don't approve of this? What if I lose all my money? What if I fail? What if people make fun of me, right? They have all these negative things. If you want to find out if you have a fear of success, try the what if and fill in the blank positively. What if I make 100,000 in my business this year? What if I do manifest this perfect love partner? And then sit with it or journal it. Write down the what if. Well, if that did happen, I would, and start to write about it. What would it mean? What would you feel? What would change? And what would be different? And you can tune into your body and sense, does that bring up anxiety? Or does it bring up a sense of peace? Or go for it? That's one of the ways that using journaling and meditation and asking within. Now, there are people here, we have a lot of wonderful EAM mentors, the emotional alignment method, who would tell you to ask your sway. You can ask the body, like you sway forward for yes or backward for no, for example. And you can just ask, is there a fear of success present within me? And you can sway yes or no. I really like the Anna Wise meditations. Anna Wise and C. Maxwell Cade worked together for many years, and I've just been trained with Judith Pennington from the Institute for the Awakened Mind, who worked with Anna Wise and was closely working with her on the mind mirror. And the mind mirror allows us to hook up electrodes to your head, and you can see on the computer your EEG, or your brain waves, on the screen. And one of the things that Anna Weiss and Max Cade and Judith Pennington have done is they have these guided meditations where you get into that calm state like we talked about, and then you start to ask questions, or if you're listening to it, it sort of mentally guides you into these questions. And that's a really effective way to tune into your inner child, to find out what are the hidden reasons why maybe you are sabotaging. So I would highly recommend meditation, journaling, and that sort of thing. And Slipper Bay on YouTube, hey YouTube, says, can I suggest a book that women can read that helps us understand our subconscious fears that arose from trauma? Once again, right here. The Real Self-Love Handbook. This book is going to help you understand the origin of subconscious fears and blocks and challenges that may have arisen from trauma. Part of my work in the world has included being trauma trained and working with trauma since the very beginning of my career. I started off with people who had addiction and eating disorders, and that led me into all of my trauma training. And yes, one of the things that I focus on a lot in the Real Self-Love Handbook is helping you understand how you got programmed to have those fears based on whatever happened to you, but also how to reprogram the subconscious mind. It's not just for women. It's good for women and for men, but Slipper Bay, I highly recommend. The Real Self-Love Handbook, it's jam-packed with all of the exercises. I give you also the free downloads of the guided meditations, and once a month I host a free private Zoom session to answer your questions, and I lead people through the inner child healing meditations. So that's the second Tuesday of the month, which means it's next Tuesday. You can join me. So yeah, and if you get the book, you get all sorts of other free coaching and benefits as well. Thank you, 1960 Genius, over on YouTube, says you're totally enjoying this. Thank you. I'm so glad to have you here. And Le Mola, merci, je suis contente que vous êtes là. Okay, so let's see. So Tawana says you wake up at 3:30 in the morning. That is actually not odd, my friend. Do you know there are millions of people around the world who are waking up between 3:30 and 4 to do their meditations? Some of my dear friends at the Brahma Kumaris, a spiritual organization that started in India and is now all over the world, they do their early morning meditations at that exact time. And a lot of people will find that you wake up around 4 a.m. And here in France, I've heard someone refer to it as la prise cosmique. It's like this in-between, it's just before dawn. There's a change in the energy and atmosphere. I had this lovely Catholic priest who told me that 4 a.m. is the time of the angels. So it's actually in a lot of different cultures, people waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning, and they find that that's the best time for like prayers, meditation, chanting, manifesting. So you're not alone, and it's not actually odd. So I would say yes, Tawana, that is a very good time to do your manifesting. So let's see if there are other questions on Insta. So Mital SS, Mita Uls, says the Calm app. You've used the Calm app for guided meditation and listening to Sister Shivani, which that's a BK, one of the Brahma Kumaris. Yes, so Sister Shivani on YouTube, you can find some of her meditations. She's wonderful. We love her. And Birdwalker Music has Counting Sheep, Sleep Like Baby by Lloyd Sams. Is that what we need to look for? Okay. Thank you for that. And yes, Marie Leanona, sorry, I'm going to not say names that are all smushed together. Yes, I will hopefully be saving this live session as long as my phone does it, but it'll also be on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so let's see. Over here on Facebook, we have a question. So what you're talking about is group support for moms, from food support in a different direction, then organize your home to have a more peaceful place, then the techniques to support brain and mind, and also support the body. and then the My Power of Women cycle. So that is a lot. So Meti, since you're doing so much support for women, I would highly recommend that you write articles or blogs, or you do videos about those specific topics, but you don't just do it once. You don't think, I'm going to write one thing that talks about the mind-body connection. No, you literally have to be doing it consistently, consistently, consistently. And when you do that, then people will be more likely to find your website, and again, sharing it on social media as well. And the more content that you have, this is also going to build up your sense of authority, which in my marketing approach, I believe that as you become a personal brand, you become the ambassador for your message or for your movement. And you can't just do that in one video and one great blog and even just one great book. You need to be consistently putting out that content from multiple different angles so that people can connect with it and then connect with you. So if you're offering group support for moms, that thing that you have about organizing your home, like I would blog or do a video. If that's a big product for you, meaning you're going to sell group support around that, that's another way that you guys can prioritize, like, what do you put out first? Maybe you need to put out the content that's actually going to feed you or, pay your bills. If you have a program or a product around that, Meti, then I would say create content on that subject or on that offering either once a week or every other week for the next year so that there is a wealth of content around that. And the power of the women's cycle that you're also an expert in, I would be doing content on that every month. I mean, it's monthly, right? I would do content on that. I would do lives. And if you're talking about the women's cycle, then I bet you're probably also talking about the moon. So you can be publishing on the new moon or full moon. I'm not a moon expert, so I'm not gonna say that, but yeah. All right, so let's see how many other questions we have in our last few minutes. Let's see. All right. Welcome, welcome. We're answering questions. Thanks. Amaka over on YouTube says, hello, Andrea. So great to be here. I love listening and watching you any chance I get. Not in a creepy way, though. Thank you, Amaka. Very good to have you. So what other questions do you all have for me? I'm scrolling through. Okay. Yasmin says, I'm constantly unsatisfied by everything I do. I always aim to be perfect, and as a result, I'm never satisfied. I believe I'm so hard on myself, but I don't know how to overcome this. Okay, so Pablo Navisi, how do you even know I sing? It's a whole other thing. Okay, we're going to get to Instagram in a second. So, Yasmin. I used to be a perfectionist as well. And what I highly recommend is if you are being hard on yourself, then chances are you have internalized some judge or some critic from earlier on in your life. So I would recommend you do the life writing program for the one about victim mentality. Even though you're not playing the victim, instead what you're doing is you're beating yourself. Do the life writing program. So here's what happens with it. In this approach, if you find that you're super hard on yourself and that's causing you to be this perfectionist but you're never satisfied, I know what that feels like, because then you're always striving for the next thing, and even when you do a kick-ass job, you don't even feel good. You're finding all the little flaws, and everyone around you is like, this is amazing, oh my God, and you're flat. So here's what you do. Make a timeline of your life, or we say break your life into chapters. So you would look at, the significant periods of life from birth to a particular age and then the next age. You can do it in terms of school ages, so from birth to preschool, then kindergarten to primary school, then primary school to middle school, and on and on. And then list any significant events that happened in your life, whether it was moving, your parents getting a divorce, a new sibling arriving, someone getting sick, whatever. And of course, if you know already, when was the first time you felt like you had to be perfect? Write that down. Or write down every time that you can remember you were hard on yourself, and see if you can go as early in your life, into your timeline as possible. Because ideally what we want to be able to do, if you're going to do this consciously, of course you can work with hypnotherapists, you can work with energy healers, you can do psychedelics that will, accelerate all of this. But if you're going to do this yourself consciously, what I recommend in the Real Self-Love Handbook and on that free training is you look at the earliest time that you can remember it in this lifetime and find out what was going on. Why did you take on the belief that you needed to be perfect? When did you take on the belief that you're not good enough or smart enough, that you need to do more or be more? And identify what was that, it's usually a younger version of us, what was that younger version of you thinking at that moment? Like, what was going on around you? A lot of times it's because of our family, it's because of some trauma or abuse or something. Sometimes it's just being teased or bullied or whatever. But you identify that, and then you can do the Safe Space Relaxation Place guided meditation, totally free to download on my site. Get into that calm state where you're activating your alpha, hopefully dropping down into a safe space, tuning into compassion for yourself. And then you can have a dialogue with that younger version of you, so that you can do some of the repair work that may not have happened in your childhood. It may be rescue work. It may be just the compassion. And next Tuesday, when I lead the free Self-Love Live Q&A and guided meditation, we can do a guided meditation together to heal that. So I'd recommend that you do that life writing exercise, identify them. You can do some of this work on your own. I give you information in that free download of how to engage with your inner child. But if you'd like to do it in a safe space with me, then that's totally free, and that's next Tuesday. So go to realself.love to sign up, or link in bio. You can find the announcement about the Real Self-Love Live. It's on the second Tuesday of the month. But to answer your question finally, Yasmin, the best way to overcome that perfectionism and to stop being so hard on yourself is to go in and deliver the compassionate love and care that you needed when you took on those false beliefs. Because it's not true that you need to be perfect, and it's not true that you need to beat yourself up for not being perfect. Right? Make sense? Okay. Hey, Angel in Pennsylvania. Happy to have you. Hello, friends over there in Instagram. We're going to take another question from Facebook. Steve, the wonderful Steve. So you're setting up a new web page, and do I recommend a few pages with a mix of content, or a separate page for each area that they can work on with you? All right. Well, it depends on how different those web pages are. You can type in and tell me what you're thinking of. But ideally, in Steve's case, she is this amazing woman who has hiked up the tallest peak on the 7 continents, so the 7 summits, and the 7 volcanoes, and now she's doing North Pole, South Pole, and kite skiing. Like, it's mind-blowing. So part of the work that you do, Steve, is taking people on expeditions. So I would have an entire web page about what you can do on an expedition, and if you're taking people there. I don't know, some of y'all may want to go to Everest with her. She's been there twice. For public speaking, that would be a separate page. If you're doing corporate consulting work where you're working with groups and teams and such, that would be a separate page. All of those are linkable from your home page, so that people at a glance, when they get to your home page, there should be a nice big hero image that gives either a tagline or a sentence that describes what that main website is all about. Like, what do you stand for? What can people expect from it? Same thing with your Instagram profile. Give us a sense in your bio of who you are and what you stand for. And then on that homepage, there should be a nice welcoming smile, preferably with video, a free offer so that you can get people on your email list, a mini bio, clickable so they can go read more and watch even more videos of your amazingness. And then every one of your subcategories, for example, could be linkable from that homepage. So we see you on the TEDx stage, and it's like Steve as a speaker. And someone could click there and find out more about your speaking engagements and how they could hire you, right? So does that make sense? All right, so we are down to our last 5 minutes. It's 5:55 on my clock. So excited to be here with you. And yes, Sinitra, also in the United States, realself.love is the website. You can also go to andreapennington.com and you'll find all the links to all of my free stuff. The Real Self-Love movement includes the manifesto, downloadable guided meditations, masterclasses that I hold with other self-love leaders, and it's all free. So if you have the book, it's helpful because then I can just take you even deeper. And as I mentioned, the second Tuesday of the month, I go live in a private Zoom so that and you can also stay anonymous, but we have some really powerful healing that happens there. All right, my friends, so in our last 5 minutes, if you have a question, and I'm going to say no to the singing because I'm not warmed up. Somebody on Instagram asked me to sing, y'all. Can you all believe that? Okay. Let's see. So Pablo says, getting lots of information as we are nowadays. How do you filter principles like desire, faith, and subconscious mind, for example, into an organized marketing plan? All right, well, for me, I see desire, that's kind of like your motivation. Like that is the drive. Actually, we also had a question from Kati that she sent in via email. She wanted to know the difference between mission and passion. So when I think of your passion, like if I am passionate about helping people heal from trauma, that is my passion. That's where my desire is. My desire is to see suffering just eliminated on the planet. And a mission is the dedicated, formalized approach to putting that passion in action. And so Pablo, if I were going to try to put all of that into a marketing plan, then I would say, first and foremost, that needs to be part of your sort of mission statement on your website or on your social media. Faith, for me, that's where we talk about surrender. That means if you really believe that the gift inside of you is meant to get out, then there does come an element of surrender. So when I create marketing plans, I'm telling you to create content and you're putting it out on a weekly basis in this format and that format. You're going to do the tactics because this is not, the law of attraction is not a law of sit back and do nothing. But there does come a moment of surrender where we say, you know what? I'm going to do my best to the best of my ability. I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to show up and I will surrender to the universe with the faith that I'm going to do what I need to do. And if I get a download of some other information, then I'll add that to my marketing plan. All right? So I hope this has been helpful for you all. Thank you so much for being here with me live. I love kind of just coming on impromptu and taking your questions. This is definitely different than what I was expecting, but perfect. Perfect for me. I hope it was good for you. All right, so if you're interested in marketing, please check out the Marketing Success Program. Go to makeyourmarkglobal.com. The Marketing Success Program starts on Monday, and it's jam-packed with my guidance and support in a group format. And if you just want some of the free guided meditations and self-love work, visit andreapennington.com. All right? So send me messages if you have questions or feedback. Thank you so much for being here. Sending you all much love from the French Riviera. Bye. Bye.